But first tonight, he is the left-wing, New Green Deal socialist most cherished public figure. Longtime government doctor who is often wrong, but never in doubt. Anthony Flip-Flop Fauci is once again back in the news after Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, he's also a medical doctor, confronted Fauci about his deceptive testimony surrounding what we've discussed a lot. It's called gain-of-function research and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. In other words, the origins of COVID-19. As a reminder, the definition of gain of function, that research often involves manipulating viruses to make them more dangerous, more infectious. Now, Fauci's NIH defines it itself. This is their definition. Research projects that could be reasonably anticipated to enhance transmissibility via the respiratory route in mammals. The practice is so risky that it was temporarily halted by the U.S. government from 2014 to 17. However, this kind of highly dangerous research apparently continued at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. This, as Fauci's NIH sent millions of your U.S. taxpayer dollars to this Wuhan lab, funneled through a nonprofit that's called EcoHealth Alliance. Now, put simply, Fauci's NIH might have played a role in developing the deadly COVID-19 virus. That would be something we need to get to the bottom of, because now, according to multiple outlets, including the Wall Street Journal, a Wuhan lab leak is the most likely cause of the pandemic that has killed millions worldwide. But today, when asked about this very real possibility, Dr. Anthony Fauci became more indignant, more defensive than ever. Even called Senator and Dr. Rand Paul, said he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I think it was him that didn't know what he was talking about. You decide.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress.
Microphone.
Your microphone.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function.
So
let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly.
And then Rand Paul read the NIH's own definition of gain of function. Now, if all of Dr. Fauci's friends and colleagues up and down the chain, whatever that means, say it wasn't technically gain of function research, well then, I guess it's settled. He's just totally off the hook? Well, according to a visibly shaken Dr. Fauci, yeah, Senator Paul was just propagating what is called a dangerous lie. You decide.
If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2, that's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well, wait a minute.
It did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator.
Now, propagating a dangerous lie, really? Well, here's how Senator Paul responded. Checkmate.
If you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It is molecularly.
Those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That is
not. You can't get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
It does meet his very definition. Dr. Fauci thought it was cute. He's playing word games in order to escape any culpability or any responsibility. This is very serious. Why on earth was Anthony Fauci's NIH sending any money whatsoever to any virology lab in China? Who in their right mind would ever think that's a good idea. And why is Fauci still serving in the White House? Forget about the gain-of-function research claims for a moment. Dr. Fauci's sloppy guidance during the pandemic has been all over the map. He has flipped, he has flopped, he has flailed the entire time. March 8th, 2020, he's trashing China's draconian lockdowns. But on March 15th, he promoted a 14-day national lockdown in the U.S. to slow the spread, which turned into several months to slow the spread. Then on January 28th, 2020, Fauci downplayed the asymptomatic spread of the virus. But in August of the same year, he blamed asymptomatic cases for community outbreaks. Last year, he referred to Trump rallies as troublesome super spreader events. He had not a word to say about last summer's protests and riots. Nothing. On masks, well, first Fauci laughed at the idea on 60 Minutes, told us not to wear any masks. They don't work. Then he demanded we all wear one mask indoors, then also a mask outdoors, then two masks, then no mask outdoors. And now we may be wearing masks in perpetuity. We can go on and on and on and on. Now, here are a few more examples. Take a look.
There is no need to change anything that you're doing on a day-by-day basis. Right now, the risk is still low.
It was just bad. It is bad now. I think these numbers are so stunning.
If you're a healthy young person, that there is no reason, if you want to go on a cruise ship, to go on a cruise ship. It is not a good idea to travel, period, in the United States. People should not be walking around with masks.
Well, if one mask is good, it makes common sense that maybe two masks are better.
If you look at the evolution of the virus in bats and what's out there now, it's very, very strongly leaning towards this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated.
Are you still confident that it developed naturally?
No, I'm not convinced about that. I think that we should continue to investigate what went on in China.
He was wrong on cruises. He was wrong all over the place with masks, here, there, and everywhere. And, of course, treatments. He was wrong on how the disease is transmitted. His models, his projections were a disaster. And his NIH was sending millions of dollars to the Wuhan Institute of Virology before the pandemic. So why on earth is Dr. Fauci even still employed? And where are the investigations into his potential malfeasance? And what about those emails that now tell us a lot more about what he knew as early as January 31st of 2020? He was told that it looked like a specific genome might have been manipulated in an email. Then there were the frantic emails that went back and forth about, do you think there's any chance we funded this? Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.